Turn heads and bring the hype with a custom hype chain from Lotwin. Perfect for youth sports, fantasy football, or just flexing your pride. Go to Lotwin.com, use the promo code TCCPOD for 10% off your order. That's Lotwin.com, promo code TCCPOD for 10% off. Get your custom hype chain and get hype with Lotwin. What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for August 25th, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Monday edition of the podcast. We got a lot to get to today. Most importantly, Phillies Mets, huge series. We'll get into that in a minute. But first, let's rewind the weekend as we always do on Mondays. Brought to you by Philly Goat. Go to phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. They have you covered. Shout out to Devin for her Philly Fanatic shirt where the benefits or proceeds benefit Chop. They already sent a check for over $1,500. Great job by her. So go support Devin, support Chop, support Philly Goat, support this podcast. Go to phillygoat.com and use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. And they have a ton of shirts. So just go check them out. But shout out to Devin for being able to take that check down to Chop. That is awesome. All right, so let's get into the Phillies. And overall, good weekend for the Phillies. They took 2 out of 3 to Washington. Friday night was a little shaky. Johan Duran is human after all, apparently. Blew the save, and the Phillies were not able to come back there in the 9th. But a good thing that I heard, and I think we were spoiled in 2008 with Brad Lidge going perfect. He's human. And Rob Thompson even said, he was like, look, Mariano Rivera blew like 80 saves in his career, and he's the greatest closer of all time. It's going to happen. I'd rather it happen now. Came back out Saturday night, was much better, was able to lock it down. Aaron Nola on Saturday looked more like the Nola we see. I still want to see another good start because he had his shaky Aaron Nola inning like he always does. If we could kind of cut that out, that would be great, Aaron. But Edmundo Sosa with a 3-run shot. Trey Turner with another homer at home. Good win on Saturday. And then just a business-like performance yesterday. 3-2, they won. Rafael Marchand was the hero, knocking in all 3. Ranger Suarez was outstanding. Has stepped it up since the Zach Wheeler news. Struck out a career-high 11 yesterday, and that's what we need. And shout out to Tanner Banks, who came in and cleaned up Jose Alvarado's mess to keep the Phillies in the lead. And then for Ryan Kerkering to come in and shut it down in the 9th. 2 out of 3 from the Nationals. It wasn't necessarily pretty, but guess what? It didn't have to be. They did what they had to do. They actually showed some fight on Friday night. Taiwan had a rough start, and the team battled back, and then Taiwan settled in. They were right there in it on Saturday, and then did just what they had to do yesterday to win. That's what championship teams do. So good weekend for the Phils. Before we get into the Mutts, some news over the weekend. Zach Wheeler, obviously, I think as we all anticipated, is out for the rest of the season. It's a 6 to 8 month recovery time. He does have to have another surgery. But again, big picture, it's all about Zach's health. So get well soon. He sent a nice message to fans, thanking them for all the support and everything. So we'll see how that goes. But Zach Wheeler, like I said, we all knew or kind of thought he wasn't going to pitch again this year. He won't. So go out there and use it as motivation. Win it for Zach. And he's meant so much to this team over the past couple of years. Go out and win it for Zach. The other announcement was next year the Phillies will play the Twins in the Field of Dream games. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool that they do stuff like that. I'm a fan of the Little League Classic or whatever they call it, where they play up in Williamsport. So playing in the Field of Dreams against the Twins next year is pretty cool. I don't know if they picked that because of Johan Duran or not, but hey. But let's get to the story of the day. It's Phillies Mets this week. Phillies have a 7-game lead, and all year everybody talks baseball is a long season. It's a marathon, not a sprint. There are no must-win series until you get to the postseason. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to tell you why that's wrong for this series. And I need the Phillies to listen up here, and they need to go in this. Because this is the team, not only are they in second place, we have a 7-game lead and all that. This is your biggest rival. This is the Dallas Cowboys of Major League Baseball for this Phillies team. They pantsed you. They absolutely embarrassed you on a national stage last year in the postseason. That series really wasn't any close. Other than Zach Wheeler pitching his ass off in game 1 and the Phillies not being able to score any runs. And everybody says about Ranger, and I'll give it, he was courageous, but he kept loading the bases. So it was not a good series. They utterly embarrassed you last year. You have the opportunity right now to bury this team. They have been the worst team in Major League Baseball since the month of August started. They are reeling. They are fighting inside the clubhouse. This is a big series for them. You, as the Philadelphia Phillies, need to treat it as a big series because this is essentially the Mets season. If they lose 2 out of 3 and go down 9 games, I'm not saying it's over because we've seen some crazier things happen. But the way they've been playing, you can end the division this week. So you need to treat this as a playoff series. This is not just a 3-game series against a division rival at the end of August. They all matter now, and you can bury this team. Absolutely bury this team. And that's what needs to happen. A sweep would be amazing, but I need 2 out of 3. And tell me all you want about, oh, it's just a 3-game. No, this is bigger than just a 3-game series. This, you can bury your rival. Absolutely bury them and essentially put 2 or 3 nails in their coffin. So I need you to treat this as such. We've already said last week, this is a continuation of my rant from last Tuesday, but we've already said you need to play like every game is your last. And this is the time where, as Phillies fans, we need to eagle-fy this team. We need to treat every game like it's do or die because you're fighting for a bye. You're fighting for the division title. And if you give this Mets team even a glimmer of hope, that's what they're looking for. Bury them when you have the chance. You have the chance to absolutely crush any spirit they have left. So I need you to go out there and do that this week. Christopher Sanchez tonight, Kodai Senga for the Mets, and he's always given the Phillies trouble. I don't care about that right now. It's like a new season. Just go out there and focus on the task at hand. Then Jesus Luzardo do it tomorrow, and then Taiwan, go give it to your old team. This is an important series. Again, I do not care what anybody says about it being a long season, marathon, not a sprint, all the other cliches you want to say. This is a huge series because the Mets are coming into this thinking we need this series to save our season. Bury them. Absolutely bury them. This next 17-day stretch is huge for the Phillies. You got these 3 against the Mets. You got the Braves, then the Brewers, then the Marlins, and then 4 against the Mets again. Right now, this 17-day stretch, this is where you need to go in there, win the division. It's there for the taking. Go in there, do what you need to do, handle business, and bury the Mutts. That does lead to today's question of the day. How many games do the Phillies need to win this series? I say minimally 2. A sweep would be amazing. 1, they still have, a 6-game lead or whatever it is. But I need them to win 2. I need them to expand this lead. How many do you got them winning? 267-495-8531. That's the Back to the Future voice and text line. Hit me up on any of my social media, the Discord channel, Jimbo_Mont on Twitter and TikTok, on Instagram @PhillyJimbo. Discord is the first link in the description. But let's go. This is Phillies Mets. This is the equivalent of Sunday night or Monday night football with the Cowboys with the division on the line. Go out there and treat it that way. All right, some other news happened this weekend. And this one is kind of political, but whatever. The whole SEPTA doomsday cuts and everything went into effect. No idea if it's going to stick. No idea what's going to happen, but it's going to be an absolute shit show on Thursday night for the Eagles-Cowboys game. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I might just get a room at Live Casino and call it a night. But it's worth monitoring. Something tells me something's going to happen that it's going to be fixed at least for that game, but we'll see. The other news, speaking of the sports complex, Xfinity Live will be no more. It is going to be officially Stateside Live. So shout out to the people over at Stateside's. Love their green tea seltzer. So those were the big news from the South Philly complex. Eagles did play their final preseason game. Defense, second team defense looked a lot better. The offensive line was still a little shaky to me depth-wise. They couldn't get much of an offense going. Howie did go out and address that need, bringing back trading for Fred Johnson, who kind of filled in very well over the past few years for the Eagles on that line. So that makes me feel a little bit better about the offensive line heading into this season. Still no word yet on who the second corner is going to be. Likely right now, the leader in the clubhouse seems to be Adoree Jackson. But I've been saying it all along. I would not be surprised if by opening night, Jacorian Bennett gets a lot of playing time there as well. I guess we'll know more. Final cuts come on Tuesday. And I'm really anxious to see. I don't know why. This is kind of that time where Howie jumps in and makes a big move that changes the landscape. He's done it before with C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Going back to 2017, he did it with Ronald Darby. He just seems to, whether it's a guy that either is going to get cut and he makes sure he's able to get it, or somebody right before they get cut, I just have a feeling Howie has something up his sleeve. He also made another trade yesterday, traded for quarterback Sam Howell from the Vikings, who somehow still believe in Carson Wentz. Hey, that's on you. But it does look like he's going to be the backup quarterback to start the season, as Tanner McKee's dealing with a fractured thumb. They're like, oh, it's not going to change much. But obviously they weren't high on Thompson, who got cut. McCord is not ready for prime time yet, so you need somebody. And Sam Howell has NFL experience. He's kind of a gunslinger, but does provide sort of that veteran leadership or veteran experience for backup quarterback. It's one of those things. Let's hope we never have to see him. But I think a solid move by Howie. I think a lot of people are making a bigger deal about it than what it is. Look, I mean, Tanner McKee has a fractured thumb. You need somebody that you have some confidence in coming in, God forbid, if you need him for Jalen Hurts. And I think Hal fits that description. So we'll see. We'll continue to update as cuts and rumors and everything comes. But I think it's 4 p.m. tomorrow is the deadline to make the final cuts. Union with a big win over the weekend against Chicago 4-0. Ty Barabo, Kai Wagner, Danley Jean-Jacques, and Milan Ilaski all scored as they beat the Chicago team 4-0. Retake over first place in the East. And it's going to be tough down the stretch because Andre Blake is out with a hamstring injury, so they're going to have to do it with their backup goalie. But it's crunch time for the Union, so let's hope that they can get it done. That was the news from the weekend. Let's rewind and see what happened this weekend in Philly sports history. August 23rd, Phillies beat the Mets 9-7, thanks in part to an Eric Bruntlett game-ending, unassisted triple play. I remember this well. It was just boom, boom, boom. 3 outs, ended the Mets rally, and the Phillies go on, obviously, to win the division that year. But Brundtland wasn't done, also went 3 for 5 at the plate, filling in for Chase Utley, who had the day off. And then on August 4th, 1979, the Phillies retired Richie Ashburn's number 1 in a game that they beat the Astros 5-3. Steve Carlton with a complete game. And then in 2013, a marathon of a game happened. The Phillies lose to the Diamondbacks 12-7, but they set the major league record at the time. Game took 7 hours and 6 minutes, went 18 innings. Yeah, that's a long time to be at the ballpark. But that's what happened this weekend as we rewind the weekend every Monday. Brought to you by Philly Goat. Go to phillygoat.com. Use that promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. They have you covered for Phillies Red October, Eagles, Union playoff push. So let's go. All right, on Friday, I asked you, we talked a little bit about Connie Mack breaking the law and having an illegal night game against the White Sox. Connie obviously managed for a very long time. Most wins as a manager in Major League Baseball history, most losses. But I asked you, who is number 2 on that list? And that is Tony La Russa, both number 2 in wins and losses. Thank you to everybody. Most people said it was either La Russa or Bobby Cox, but it was La Russa. Bobby Cox, I believe, was 3rd on that list. I gave you my social media for the housekeeping. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont, and continue to spread the word as we're growing this thing. And then coming in next week, prior to the Eagles-Cowboys game, I'm excited to announce the pregame show with my brother. The Brotherly Birds Breakdown will come out usually on a Thursday or a Friday or a Saturday. We're going to record on Thursdays. Obviously, this week we have to record a little bit earlier because it's a Thursday game. Plus, you throw in fantasy football drafts. So we're going to be recording it this week. So we might not have all the information, but the Brotherly Birds Breakdown will be live. Next week, it'll be Wednesday. But typically, I'll drop that on a Friday, Saturday at the latest, depending on how editing goes. But I'm really looking forward to that. We'll break down any Eagles news from the week, recap the week before's game, preview and break down whatever matchup we have, give you our picks, give you some fantasy and betting picks as well. And then, of course, the 3 keys to the game. Each of us will give 3 keys, so you'll have 6 keys to the game. So KeyBank, any local car dealerships, if you're out there and want to sponsor the segment, hit me up. But looking forward to the Brotherly Birds Breakdown. That premieres next week. That will be available wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube. But looking forward to that. Packing up the whole crew for a week down the shore? Don't waste your first day dragging bags and beach chairs. Let Beach Caddy do the work. With bellhop service for move-ins and move-outs, plus beach cart rentals in Ocean City, Avalon, Sea Isle, Stone Harbor, and Wildwood, they've got your back from driveway to dune. Stress less, relax more. Book now at beachcaddy.app. Use the promo code Jimbo for 10% off your bellhop or cart rental services. Beach Caddy, because vacation should start when you get there. Best beach carts on the Jersey Shore. Book now at beachcaddy.app. Use the promo code Jimbo for 10% off your order and let Beach Caddy take the stress out of your vacation. All right, we're winding down the top 5 for the first 25 years of the century. Had a lot of fun with this throughout the month of August. The rest of this week, we're doing the top players. We're going to do the top players in Philly sports since 2000 and then break down each individual team the rest of the week here. But let's start. This one should spark some debate. I'm hoping. These are my top players in all of Philly sports since 2000. First, let's get some honorable mentions, and I'm sure this is going to outrage some people right off the bat. Chase Utley, honorable mention. Ryan Howard, honorable mention. Zach Wheeler, Bryce Harper, both honorable mentions. Kyle Schwarber we can throw in there. Claude Giroux, Jalen Hurts, Donovan McNabb. I'm sure that shocks a lot of people. I don't have McNabb as one of my top 5, but he is an honorable mention. Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, and Lane Johnson all didn't quite make the top 5 for me. So here is the top 5 players in Philly sports since 2000, according to me. At number 5, Jason Kelce, future Hall of Famer. just an absolute anchor on that offensive line. Obviously, who could forget the Super Bowl speech, the fact that went out there and played, very, very rarely missed games, and one of the, like I said, one of the all-time greats in Eagles history, likely a future Hall of Famer. Can make the argument that Lane could have been in there before him, but because he's still playing and whatnot. But Jason Kelce comes in at number 5. Number 4, another controversial one, but I think the numbers and the talent speak for itself. Joel Embiid comes in at number 4 on the list. If he could have just stayed healthy, he could have been one of the greatest players to ever play the game. Certainly in the top 5 all time for the Sixers, but he makes our list of top Philly athletes since 2000 at number 4. Number 3, the glue that held that Phillies team together. You could have made a case for Chase. You could have made the case for Ryan. But I go Jimmy Rollins is the number 3 athlete in Philly since 2000. I feel that he was the leader of that team. Chase was quiet. Ryan was the big piece. But Jimmy Rollins is the glue that holds that team together. They don't win that World Series, and make 5 straight playoff appearances without Jimmy Rollins. So Jimmy Rollins is number 3 on the all-time list. Number 2, Weapon X. Brian Dawkins is the number 2 athlete in Philly since 2000. Hall of Famer, one of the greatest in Eagles history. Another guy, emotional leader who, even now, like, he does commercials for AAA, and I want to run through a wall. That's the kind of leader he was. That's the kind of player he was. Played like his hair was on fire all the time. Just a great player, great person. Brian Dawkins, the number 2 athlete in Philly since the year 2000. And that leads us to number 1. I think this goes without saying, but the best athlete in Philadelphia since 2000, arguably one of the top 5 athletes all time in Philly history, and that is number 3, Allen Iverson, AI. Put that team on his back in 2000, 2001 to lead them to the NBA Finals. Stole game 1 in dramatic, epic fashion. Again, another game where he just put the team on his back. Changed the game culturally. Still beloved to this day in Philly. So Allen Iverson is our number 1 athlete in Philly since 2000. Now it's your turn. Who'd I miss? Who's too high? Who's too low? I'm sure this is going to spark some debate, but let me know. Hit me up on social media. Hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line, Discord channel, any of that, and let me know who'd I miss. You can call me an idiot if you want, as long as you have facts to back it up. But that is my top 5 list. Allen Iverson, Brian Dawkins, Jimmy Rollins, Joel Embiid, and Jason Kelce. All right, finally today, August 25th. On this day in 1922, the Phillies lose to the Cubs 26-23 out in Wrigley Field. They were down 25-6 after giving up 14 runs in the 4th inning. Battled back, but unfortunately left the bases loaded in the top of the 9th. Phillies scored 23 runs this day. Did not hit a single home run in that game. That's just amazing. The two teams combined for 51 hits, 49 runs, and 23 walks, setting Major League Baseball records for combined for both teams in a game. The hits and the runs still stand to this day as Major League records for the most by both teams combined in a game. So 26-23, Phillies lose. Had a shot in the bottom of the ninth or top of the 9th, but couldn't get it done. Fast forward to 1995. Phillies beat the Dodgers 17-4. Gregg Jefferies went 4 for 5 with 4 RBI, 4 run scores while hitting for the cycle. Became the 7th Philly to hit for the cycle in the team's history. Jeff Juden was on the mound. Remember him? I just remember him being super, super tall. But Jeff Juden was on the mound, pitched a complete game, gave up 7 hits, walked 4, but helped himself at the plate, hitting a grand slam en route to a 17-5 victory. Jim Eisenreich, Mickey Morandini, and Charlie Hayes all doubled. Kevin Stocker hit a triple. And there have been, if you're keeping score at home, there have been 10 cycles in team history. And then finally, in 2016, one of the last pieces of the 2008 team was traded away. Phillies trade Carlos Ruiz to the Dodgers for a couple of low-level prospects and some cash, leaving only Ryan Howard left from the 2008 team, which I believe Ryan retired in 2016 as well. So it was the slow dismantling of that 2008 team. But Carlos Ruiz, fan favorite, was traded to the Dodgers on this day back in 2016. All right, so our trivia question. The Phillies scored 23 runs on this day in 1922. What is their modern team record? The team record is from back in the 1800s, but the modern team record, what is the Phillies record for most runs scored in a game? I'll give you a hint here. It's Phillies Mets week, so maybe that'll help you out here. But let me know your answer to that. What is the Phillies record modern day for runs scored in a game? Be sure to check out the Clashing Conferences. We're proud members here of the Sports Fan Network. Go to clashingconferences.com to see what they have to offer and how you can get involved. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a review, comment. All of that stuff helps the algorithm out and let's outsmart it. On this day in 2016, Carlos Ruiz was traded, leaving only Ryan Howard from that 2008 World Series championship team. On this day in 1995, Gregg Jefferies hit for the cycle as the Phillies beat the Dodgers 17-5. And then in 1922, the Phillies and Cubs set major league records for hits, runs, and walks by both teams as the Cubs beat the Phils 26-23 out at Wrigley. More importantly, though, what are your thoughts on the top 5 athletes since 2000 in Philly history? We will do more. We'll do the Flyers, Phillies, Sixers, and then finish up Friday with the top 5 Eagles of all time as we slowly creep toward the September, rolling the calendar over. Looking forward to it. But we'll have any updates on the Eagles as they kind of finalize and make the final roster cuts. But it's Phillies Mets. That's all we should be worried about this week. Bury them. Absolutely bury them. It's there for the taking, and it's going to do wonders for the confidence not only of the team, but as well the fans. Go out there, win this game, win this series, bury that team from New York. Let's go. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for August 25th, 2025. My name is Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Monday, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.